What happens when the world's most ambitious skyscraper suddenly becomes obsolete in the city that never sleeps? The Singer Building once ruled the skyline of New York as the tallest structure on Earth. Yet within a few decades, the legendary tower was dismantled piece by piece until nothing remained. Tonight, we uncover how one of history's greatest skyscrapers quietly vanished from the skyline it once dominated. In 1908, a slender tower rose above the skyline of New York, announcing the arrival of a new architectural ambition. The Singer Building was not merely a skyscraper, but a declaration that the modern city would now grow upward. Funded by the immense fortune of the Singer Manufacturing Company, the tower embodied the industrial confidence of early 20th century America. Its marble base and soaring red tower quickly transformed the financial district into a stage for modern engineering triumph. For a brief but unforgettable moment, the Singer Building stood as the tallest building anywhere on Earth. Visitors arriving by ship into New York Harbor could see its elegant crown rising like a monument to ambition. The tower was designed with dramatic Beaux-Arts detail, combining European artistic tradition with the steel skeleton of modern engineering. Architects believed they had created a structure that would stand proudly for generations across the skyline of Manhattan. Its unusual slender form made it instantly recognizable among the crowded streets of Lower Manhattan. The tower climbed to an astonishing height of 612 feet, a remarkable achievement for the early skyscraper era. Wind-bracing innovations allowed the thin tower to remain stable despite powerful Atlantic gusts sweeping through the harbor. Engineers proudly described the building as both elegant and technically revolutionary. Yet beneath the admiration of the public, a quiet limitation was already hidden within its graceful design. The Singer Building contained far less office space than the massive corporate structures that would soon follow. Its narrow tower created beauty but sacrificed the broad floors that modern businesses increasingly demanded. As decades passed, companies began searching for buildings that could house entire corporate empires under one roof. The Singer Building offered prestige, yet it lacked the vast working space required by the new age of business. By the middle of the 20th century, its once revolutionary design had become a financial disadvantage. Developers studied the valuable land beneath the tower and saw opportunity where others saw heritage. Lower Manhattan had entered a new era where square footage determined the future of the skyline. The slender tower that once symbolized progress now represented inefficiency in a rapidly expanding economy. Corporate planners quietly concluded that the beautiful landmark could no longer justify its place on such valuable land. The idea of demolishing the world's former tallest building once sounded unthinkable to the public. Yet the logic of modern real estate began to overpower the emotional attachment to the historic tower. In 1967, workers began the slow and deliberate dismantling of the Singer Building from its highest floors. Piece by piece, the elegant tower that once defined the skyline started disappearing into dust and memory. Pedestrians watched in disbelief as one of the city's most recognizable structures gradually vanished from view. Newspapers described the event as the end of an architectural era. For the first time in history, the tallest building ever demolished was disappearing before the eyes of New York. The process required careful manual removal to prevent damage to surrounding buildings in the crowded financial district. Weeks turned into months as the tower slowly descended toward the streets below. Each removed section erased another chapter of early skyscraper history. Photographs captured the once proud landmark shrinking day after day against the skyline. The destruction revealed how fragile even the most celebrated structures could become. When the final pieces were removed, the Singer Building existed only in memory and photographs. Soon afterward, construction began for a very different kind of structure on the same historic site. The massive modern office tower of One Liberty Plaza rose where the delicate red tower once stood. Its design focused not on ornament, but on maximizing vast floors of office space. The new building contained nearly 4 times the usable workspace of the Singer Building. Efficiency had replaced elegance as the defining priority of the modern corporate skyline. Many observers felt that something irreplaceable had been lost in the transformation. Architects and historians began to question whether beauty should be sacrificed so easily for profit. The demolition of the Singer Building became a warning about the vulnerability of historic landmarks. Across the United States, preservation advocates started demanding stronger protections for architectural heritage. Cities began to recognize that historic structures carried cultural value beyond simple real estate calculations. The disappearance of the Singer Building helped ignite a broader movement to save endangered landmarks. Yet the forces that removed the tower never truly disappeared from urban development. Even today, skylines continue evolving under the same pressure of economics and expansion. Modern buildings rise higher and faster than the engineers of 1908 could ever imagine. But the lesson of the Singer Building remains quietly embedded in the history of New York. Progress often demands change, yet change can sometimes erase the very identity of a city. The tower once stood as a monument to the confidence of a young industrial nation. Its destruction revealed how temporary even the grandest achievements can become. For nearly 60 years, the Singer Building dominated the skyline with elegance and ambition. Then in a single year, it disappeared entirely from the landscape it helped define. The loss left historians wondering how many other masterpieces might face a similar fate. cities constantly rebuild themselves, layer upon layer, generation after generation. Each new tower carries both the promise of the future and the risk of forgetting the past. The Singer Building reminds us that architectural beauty does not always guarantee survival. Economic logic often moves faster than cultural memory. As decades pass, fewer people remember the tower that once ruled the skyline. Yet its story continues to echo through discussions of urban preservation and architectural identity. Old photographs reveal the delicate crown that once watched over the harbor winds. The skyline today tells a different story, shaped by new priorities and different ambitions. Beneath the glass towers of modern Manhattan lies the memory of a vanished landmark. The Singer Building survives now only in archives, books, and the imagination of historians. Its disappearance reminds us that progress can sometimes carry an invisible cost. The skyline of New York is celebrated worldwide, yet parts of its history have quietly vanished. Every city hides similar stories beneath its modern streets and towers. The rise and fall of the Singer Building reveals the fragile balance between heritage and growth. In the end, the tower became not just a lost building, but a lesson for future generations. And the question remains whether any modern landmark is truly safe from the relentless cycle of urban change.